Hi, Martin Welschof. You are the CEO of Bioinvent, a drug company that's developing antibodies for cancer. Could you give us a short introduction to your company first?
Absolutely, I'm happy to do that, Matilda. So Bioinvent is a company which is around for some time, based in Lund, Sweden, listed in Stockholm. And we are, for European standards, at least a relatively integrated company, which means so we not only do discovery of targets and antibodies, in the focus, which is immuno-oncology, but we also can do our own preclinical and clinical development, including manufacturing. And this makes the company very competitive in that sense that we can move very quickly from discovery into the clinic, since we have all the capabilities in-house.
And Martin, you have different tools for drug development. Could you tell us more about those different tools?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Probably what you're referring to is our first platform. And this is something very unique for Bioinvent. So it's a platform which not only allows for the discovery of antibodies that the company has done for many, many years, and we have collaboration, with Mitsubishi, with Takeda, with Daiichi. But then in our Pfizer collaboration, we further developed this platform also into a target discovery platform. So basically, what this platform does, it's a patient-centric approach of screening of patient material. I think this is also very important. So we're not screening on peptides and proteins. Of course, we can do that as well, but we prefer to use patient cells, patient material, in order to be as close as possible to the in vivo situation. And then once we have identified interesting antibodies specific for this patient material, then before we identify what those antibodies are binding to, we go through a very vigorous functional testing, which means we are focusing only on those antibodies who have shown strong therapeutic effects in a number of animal models. And for those antibodies, we also discover the targets. And we use that platform internally, but we have used it also very successfully for Pfizer. So in 2019, Pfizer selected targets that we have identified with their platform. And just at the end of 2020, they also selected antibodies, which are now moving into the clinical development at Pfizer.
Yeah, and last time I interviewed you, Martin, you were hoping that you could announce the data on B1 1206 in Q4, and you did almost according to the plan. You released strong data in the in the end of January, and the data was strong, and you showed strong clinical proof of concept in your leading drug. Tell me about this data.
Absolutely. So, and we come back to that later, probably in more detail. So, as you know, we're pushing ahead with a portfolio of different drugs that could be used within immunotherapy for cancer. And our lead program is BI-1206, absolutely. And we had a KOL event at the end of January, where we provided basically the data and the status of the study. So this is a typical phase 1/2 study as you run it in cancer patients. And we're basically very close to the end of the dose escalation, and will soon move into dose expansion. And we already have very encouraging first signs of efficacy. So the data that we disclosed at the end of January was 9 evaluable patients, and out of those 9 patients, we had 6 responders, which is a very good overall response rate. And out of those 6, we had 2 complete responders. And I think what was particularly exciting was that those complete responders have a long duration of response. So in one case, it was more than a year, and the other case more than 2 years, and still ongoing. So I think that is very encouraging. So in two ways. First of all, regarding the response rate, 6 out of 9, this is quite high. And then the duration of response that we're seeing. But obviously, also to make that comment, this is still early days. So we have to, of course, now go into dose expansion and hopefully confirm the trend. But I think it's very positive and very encouraging.
So this good results, what does it mean for Bioinvent going forward?
Well, that means that we, at least already in our first program out of the portfolio that we have, by the end of the year, we will have 5 programs in the clinic. We already have the first glimpse of good data, which of course is a nice proof for the platform, for the capabilities of the company. But obviously, we hope that we also in the other programs will have good data. And for the 1206 program, it could mean, so let's say we can confirm the trend that we're currently seeing in the dose escalation, also in the dose expansion, then we have the possibility to go for accelerated conditional approval. But that is something that will be data driven, but that could be strategically, of course, very, very interesting to the company.
Okay, could you maybe walk us through your pipeline, because you have many different programs in different phases? Could you explain which drugs are your most important and which are less important, etc.?
So first of all, I would say that all the drugs that we have in development are equally important. They're just at different stages, depending on when they have been started. All are based or have been generated in-house with the first platform that we already discussed a little bit. 1206 is the most advanced, and that's why we had an update there end of January. Then we have a second program with 1206, which is in solid cancer. So the first one is in non-Hodgkin lymphoma. The second program is in solid cancer. And there we plan to have an update by the end of this year. And then we have a second anti-Fc gamma R2b antibody called BI-1607. And this program should go into the clinic during the second half of this year. That will be then our 5th program. And then we have quite some focus around T regulatory cells. So T regulatory cells are a very important cell type of the tumor microenvironment. And we have 2 programs which are targeting T regulatory cells. One is targeting a structure which is called TNF receptor 2, which is one of the hot and upcoming targets in immuno-oncology. And there we're actually leading. So we're the first one in the clinic with our lead program, BI-1808. And there we already have started to enroll patients. And since we're starting at a relatively high dose, there might be the hope that we already see some data at some time point towards the end of this year. And then just recently, just a couple of days ago, we announced that we started to enroll patients for BT-001. And this is also a very interesting program targeting T regulatory cells, and we run that in collaboration with Transgene. So we basically combine our anti-CTLA-4 antibody with their oncolytic virus platform, and we have generated very, very strong preclinical data. And also in this program, I think if it runs well and we recruit well, it depends a little bit, of course, on the COVID situation, then we might also see some data towards the end of the year for that program as well. So as I said, so every program is first in class and is very interesting and has a lot of potential, targeting high unmet needs. And by the end of this year, we'll have 5 programs, which of course then will generate a quite dense and interesting news flow this year, but also for the years to come.
And looking at your pipeline, you have partnered up with some other companies. Is that your strategy as well, to have partners?
Yes, so the current focus will be still on getting good partnerships in place. And in principle, what you can think about each program, and we have started to do that around 1206, since this is the most advanced program, you can think about first of striking a geography-focused partnerships, as we have done there with CASI Pharmaceuticals, and then keeping the rest of the world such that you can generate more data, generate more value. But obviously, you can also move boldly immediately. That means, go immediately for worldwide license. That depends a little bit on the structure, on the commercial structure of such a partnership. But we are very open and very active on the business development side in order to get further partnerships in place. But I can say, since we, have raised another nice amount of money just a couple of days ago, rather, we are very selective. So we have focus on business development, on partnering, but only enter into partnerships once it makes sense from a commercial perspective, but also with the right partner.
So, but are you actively looking for new partners all the time?
Yes, this is an ongoing activity that you should do as a BD, as a biotech company in BD in any way. And that doesn't mean that you are forced into partnerships, so you can always select, right? But I think it's good to be out there such that potential partners know what you have, and then at the right time point, you basically get the right partner. And in order to ensure that or secure that, you need a active, ongoing BD approach. Absolutely.
And as you said, you recently took in a lot of amount of new money, so finance secured for a while now.
Yes, absolutely. So, we just did a very good financing also last year in the summer, and now another one just a couple of days ago. And I think with that, we really can support our multiple shots on goal strategy, meaning pushing ahead with a broad portfolio. Then we also would have the potential, in case we should have the right data, that we can go for accelerated conditional approval for BI-1206. And also, I think now the runway of the company is secured until at least the end of 2024, maybe a little bit into 2025. Depends a little bit on how we spend the money, but based on current plans, which means also we have the right power to negotiate for very good partnerships. I think that's also very, very good to be in that position. Absolutely. And I should say, because that was always our approach, financing last year, but also financing this year, we went only for high quality investors. So really good institutions who have a lot of experience in biotech and which are long term.
Mm. And to sum up, Martin, what's the next big step for Bioinvent?
Yeah, so the next milestones, basically, when you look at at our portfolio, are first of all moving 1206 from dose escalation into dose expansion, which should happen soon. Then the next milestone for 1206 is obviously the update on the solid cancer study towards the end of this year. Then if I think about the target Fc gamma R2b 1607, to move that into the clinic is another important milestone for the company. And then, as I mentioned, so hopefully for 1808 and 001, that we do a good job in conducting those clinical trials such that we might already see some data towards the end of this year, but definitely next year. So those are the major milestones ahead.
So it sounds like we could expect some triggers in the near term.
Yes. So if everything goes on right, obviously, these are our plans. But I think we will have triggers in any way, since we have multiple shots on goal. So I think that's a good thing.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.